All right, let's dive in. Today, we're doing a special daily digest, and we're zeroing in on one single, absolutely critical moment for AI. The date, Sunday, February 22, 2026. Now, on this one day, things happened across geopolitics, the financial markets, and even science that, well, literally reshaped our future. So, let's break down exactly what went down. I mean, think about it. You've got global treaties being signed, markets absolutely crashing, and scientific breakthroughs happening on the moon, of all places. This single 24-hour period was, no exaggeration, a turning point for the whole world. And our story? It all kicks off in New Delhi. So, first up, a new AI world order, thanks to the New Delhi Declaration. And honestly, this was the biggest story of the day, coming right out of India. It was a landmark global agreement that signals this massive shift in how we all think about AI. We're talking about a move away from an era that was all about fear and safety to one that's laser-focused on utility and development. Get this, a staggering 88 nations and international organizations signed the New Delhi Declaration on AI Impact. But what's really mind-blowing is who signed it. We're talking the United States, China, and Russia, all getting on the same page, agreeing on a unified path for AI. I mean, come on. In today's world, getting that kind of consensus it's pretty much unheard of. And the guiding principle behind the whole thing? It was this ancient Sanskrit philosophy, Sarvajan Hithya, Sarvajan Sukheya, which means for the welfare and happiness of all. So the focus is now officially on proactive development. Asking questions like, how can we use AI to promote equity, to improve access, to drive progress, especially for nations in the global south? It's reframing AI from just being a tool to being a fundamental right. So you're probably wondering, how are they going to pull this off? Well, the whole agreement is built on these 7 pillars or chakras. It's basically a complete roadmap, and it is incredibly ambitious, covering everything from training the workforce to making sure content is legit. But check this out. This pillar right here, resource democratization, that's a direct promise to give developing nations access to computing power, leveling the playing field in a way we've never seen before. And here's the thing, this shows it's not just a bunch of talk. India is really backing these principles with real action. They showed off their MANAV framework, which is designed to make sure humans aren't just treated like data points. They highlighted an AI called Sarlaben, which is already helping millions of dairy farmers in their own languages. And they launched 3 of their own made-in-India AI models, all backed by a jaw-dropping $250 billion in new infrastructure money. Wow! Okay, so while all the governments were talking cooperation in New Delhi, something else was happening. A single product launch was sending absolute shockwaves through the financial markets. And this is where we see the start of the agentic invasion. We're talking about the rise of agents. These are tools that don't just write an email for you, they can actually autonomously get complex stuff done. Yep. A full-on cybersecurity crash. And the bombshell that set it all off was the launch of Anthropic's new tool, Claude Code Security. So this is an AI-powered scanner, and it is so ridiculously effective. We're talking finding bugs that have been missed by human experts for decades, that it triggered an immediate, brutal sell-off across the entire cybersecurity industry. And just look at the sheer scale of the panic here. Major players like CrowdStrike, Okta, their stocks just plummeted. So why the free fall? Well, investors are basically betting that AI's advanced reasoning ability is going to make a lot of the traditional security tools, and maybe even human security testers, pretty much obsolete. This quote from a Google VP just nails the bigger picture here. Startups that build on rented ground are finding that the ground is shifting beneath them. It perfectly describes this AI agent invasion. You have these huge foundational models from giants like Anthropic and Google that are starting to just absorb the features of smaller startups. So if your whole business is just a thin layer built on top of their tech, well, that ground you're standing on is getting real shaky real fast. Now, this whole agentic invasion thing is a software revolution for sure. But guess what? It all runs on hardware. And that brings us to the next huge story from that day, the intense geopolitical race for chip supremacy. We're talking about the physical building blocks of all this AI. So on February 22nd, India officially jumped on board with something called Pax Silica. Okay, so what is that? It's basically a US-led strategic alliance that's trying to create a technology shield. The goal is to build this tech coalition among trusted partner countries to fight back against what they call weaponized dependency, the risk of a rival nation suddenly cutting off your chip supply in a crisis. The new playbook is all about rebuilding supply chains around political trust, not just what's cheapest. And this line from Prime Minister Modi, it really says it all. In the 21st century, chips are the equivalent of what oil was in the 20th century. I mean, wow. The COVID-19 pandemic really showed us all how fragile our supply chains were, right? And now, semiconductors are being treated with that exact same level of strategic importance as, say, oil and gas. It's about national security. And once again, this isn't just talk. India literally broke ground on a massive new semiconductor facility with HCL and Foxconn. It's a huge piece of a national mission to build out their entire tech ecosystem. And, this is part of a bigger global trend of regionalization. You've got countries like Indonesia also racing to build their own sovereign chip-making capabilities. Everyone wants in on the game. Okay, so we've talked geopolitics, we've talked markets. Now let's go from the geopolitical to the cosmic. Because on that same day, AI was pushing the absolute boundaries of human exploration. We're leaving the boardrooms and battlegrounds behind and heading to the frontiers of science. You're not going to believe this, but the moon is getting its own AI brain. Seriously. On February 22nd, HPE's spaceborne computer was officially integrated into the FLIP lunar rover. Now, why does that matter? It means the rover can process data in real time right there on the lunar surface, mapping for water ice, analyzing minerals, you name it. It completely bypasses that huge time delay you'd get from sending massive amounts of data all the way back to Earth. It's a game changer. Meanwhile, back here on Earth, generative AI is completely transforming medical research. A study came out that day confirming that an AI can take a simple text prompt from a scientist, just plain English, and spit out complex analytical code in minutes. We're talking about a task that used to take expert programmers days to do, and it's already being used to do things like analyze microbiome data to help predict preterm births. It's basically democratizing data science, putting incredible power into the hands of researchers everywhere. But with all this incredible progress, the day also threw a spotlight on this growing tension, this real paradox that's at the heart of our relationship with AI. It's this question of progress versus peril. How do we balance the immense, amazing potential of AI with the very real risks it poses to our society and maybe even to our own minds? And this is really where that paradox becomes crystal clear. On the one hand, you've got AI helping us connect with our history, digitally preserving and translating ancient texts like the Sushruta Samhita, which is an incredible medical manuscript. But on the other hand, it's creating all these new anxieties about jobs disappearing, about students relying on it too much, and about the erosion of our ability to think critically for ourselves. And this quote from a report that day, it just brings it all down to a deeply personal level. Worried my boyfriend's use of AI is affecting his ability to think for himself. It highlights these growing concerns about becoming too dependent on AI. The worry is that as we offload more and more of our thinking to chatbots, are we losing some of the very human essence of mentorship, of empathy, of just plain independent thought? It's a heavy question. So that one single day, February 22nd, 2026, it really leaves us with this huge, profound question. In just 24 hours, we saw a new global vision for AI for good. We saw a market absolutely terrified of AI's power, a frantic race to control its physical hardware, and scientific breakthroughs that just stretch the imagination. Which all leads back to this. As our machines get smarter, what does it actually mean to stay human? That's a question we're all going to be answering together. Thanks for tuning in.